Foreign buying in Cape Town's property market has seen a considerable increase over the past 6 months, and property experts believe that the depreciation of the rand is the reasoning behind the trend, which has seen a near doubling in property sales.
Cape Town's always been the darling of foreign buyers when it comes to residential property, and that continues to be the case. Historically, though, most of our foreign buyers, more than 50%, came out of the UK, with about 10 to 15% coming out of the three German-speaking countries. But what's happened now is, as South Africa's sort of reintegrated into the world, more and more people from more and more destinations are coming to South Africa, seeing it, seeing Cape Town and liking it and choosing to buy here.
Let's touch on this trend of other countries and other nationalities choosing to make their second home in Cape Town. Have you noticed any kind of a trend from the Far East?
Well, from the Far East, we have started seeing Chinese buyers coming through. This year, I think we've had 10 Chinese buyers compared to the 4 or 5 that we had buying. And this is 4 and 5 for the whole year last year, whereas it's 10 up to now. So you are seeing increases. Seeing a lot more buying out of Africa, seeing interest out of the Middle East and buying out of the Middle East. So yes, a lot more of that type of source for buyers.
You mentioned Africa in your response. Which countries in the African continent are specifically interested in buying property in South Africa and in Cape Town, and what kind of price ranges are we looking at here?
Okay, so when it comes to buyers out of Africa, you're pretty much talking mainly the petroleum producing countries. So you name it, it's Nigeria, it's Angola, etc. That type of stuff, we're seeing a lot of that. Generally speaking, you're talking about the upper end of the market. If you look at the average price ranges for buyers out of Africa, it tends to be above 11 million. Whereas if you're looking at the price range for buyers out of Britain, it's kind of about 6 million, and the average. And Germany, maybe 5 million. So it's definitely the higher end of the market. In fact, the very high end of the market tends to be the area that is particularly popular with those buyers.
Now, how much has the weakness of the rand had a role to play in this trend of an increase in foreign property buying in Cape Town?
It's interesting. Look, there is no question that the weakening of the rand makes it more palatable to buy over here. But my view is that nobody's going to buy something they don't want to buy in the first place, irrespective of what the exchange rate is. So they have to want to buy in Cape Town, they have to like Cape Town, and yes, weakening rand could say, well, now this is the time to buy, or might just make them make that decision where maybe they might have vacillated. But I don't think it's going to be the deciding factor on making an investment in residential property in Cape Town.
Now, which are the most popular areas in Cape Town which attract the most foreign buyers?
Look, historically, it was really the areas around Bantry Bay, Clifton, Camps Bay. You then had Somerset West and the City Bowl area, which are very interesting because they're particularly appealing to European buyers. There's a very cosmopolitan lifestyle. So if you're talking about the German buyers, etc., I was talking about earlier, a lot of them buying in the City Bowl, a lot of them buying in Somerset West, the winelands, and a lot of them fall into one of two categories. Either what we refer to as swallows, the people who spend the summers down here and return to Europe in winter, or those who maybe were swallows or have just simply chosen to retire to South Africa, to Cape Town, so that you get a lot of... What's happened subsequently, though, is obviously, of course, the waterfront has developed, and that has become a major destination for foreign buyers. And then there's the reinvention of Mully Point has also seen interest in foreign buyers, so foreign buyer interest. So you are seeing that broadening somewhat in those respects, but not much beyond those kind of areas.
Cape Town competes with other international cities which offer a similar kind of lifestyle when it comes to a destination for a second home for foreign buyers. What does Cape Town have that is unique? And also, there has been a relative slew of negative news around South Africa over the last 2 years, especially when it comes to politics and the labour situation. Do you think that has at all affected demand?
It's interesting that if you look at buyers out of Africa, they have no concerns about South Africa and South Africa's future. That kind of debate tends to come up occasionally in buyers from Europe, etc. But I don't know that it's playing a major factor. I certainly don't know that we've lost a single deal because of that. Whether someone didn't make an inquiry in the first place because of that, I wouldn't know. but we are seeing an increasing trend in buying over here, so we think that it's not causing problems at all. But Cape Town has certain major attractions, one of which is that we're in the perfect time zone, because anyone coming out of Europe and coming to Cape Town can continue working in Europe, and international communications get better and better, so it gets easier and easier. But even down to the people who've retired or just here part of the year, you can sit and watch British soccer and whatever you want to watch. It's taking place in the same time zones that you are, so they understand the banking systems, they work. It's pretty much like being in Europe or in the rest of Africa. So that makes it very, very easy. Secondly, it's an easy destination. It's an overnight flight out of Europe. And thirdly, it really is cheap. I know that people from other parts of South Africa look at Cape Town and think it's really expensive, and relative to those areas it is. But relative to similar markets around the world, it's very, very cheap still. Very excellent value for money in Cape Town at the moment.